All right, big fella.
Well, went on a big trip. Trip. Went on a little. I did some driving.
Grief.
I know. I'm really struggling today. Kind of
Is it today or is it
lately.
okay?
Yeah, strokey. My topic says, take notes, Indiana. The difference in the roadways once you cross our southern border is mind-boggling.
Okay.
And I think it's because, I don't know why it's because, but I would only assume that it's because of their tax base and how they, do things with their roads and whatever. But I don't know. Like, it was wild on 69 when you cross the Twin Bridges up and then getting over to I-64 coming east up here to home. It really makes you appreciate the nicer roads down in Kentucky. Like, they were all not screwed up.
Some of that stretch that you would have been on is new, though, like in the last handful of years.
Probably. But it was nice.
Well, Kentucky spends money on roads and bridges instead of education or other things, like maybe their budget. I don't know that. That's a joke.
But honestly, the realistic
teachers are going
pretty good listener base in Kentucky.
Yeah, teachers are going to come at me and say they don't pay us enough in Indiana either. I get it. I feel your plight.
Not only was the roads what I was thinking of, but the lights, big lights over top of their overpasses and interchanges.
Oh.
Those, like, they have them down in Alabama too. Like when we travel to that shithole, like whenever you're on the interstate and stuff like that, you get to those big interchanges and there's just those. I mean, I bet you them sumbitches are 100 feet tall.
Yeah.
And they're just full of lights, and they put 2 or 3 of them in a clover leaf, and that way you can kind of see where the exit's at, what's going on and everything like that. And I don't know. There's not very many of those in Indiana like here, you know what I mean? Like if you're over here on 231 coming from Dale and you want to get back on 64 to go west to the Holland exit, how many times have you missed that? Or almost missed that because it's
kind of a blind corner.
Well, yeah, and it's pitch black. Like it's right over on the other side of the overpass, and it is just pitch ass black, and you can't see nothing. I don't know. I don't know. I think those lights I noticed, the roads I noticed, and being a road worker here in Indiana, just kind of makes you notice things about stuff like that. And they had like deforesters or like mulchers, I guess you would say, like they were cleaning forestry mulchers. They were cleaning up the sides of the interstates, really, pruning them babies.
Here's what I don't understand, and this you had talked about it a couple weeks ago about all the Bradford pears blooming.
Oh
and
yeah,
Janelle and I were going through there not too long after that, and it's really noticeable. But the people that want you to cut all them down, why are we not doing it? Like, why is our own state and conservation efforts not doing that to mulch them down?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I told Janelle, I was like, they'll send you an ad that, hey, trimming your trees, trim this one down at the bottom. But then you'll run right up and down that interstate, and you're like,
how much did they spend on that little ad campaign?
Yeah.
Could have just had somebody
send a couple
running the mulcher down the highway.
Yeah. Send a couple jailbirds down through there with well, never mind. You don't want to put chainsaws in criminals' hands, I guess.
We'll give them little hacksaws.
Yeah, little hand saws. Man, that'd be tough, wouldn't it?
That would be tough. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know, when we travel, you take note. It's kind of funny when you're back there by Brother Shirley's neck of the woods, where it goes from Warwick County into Du Bois.
I know.
And you're like, exactly where you're at.
Yep.
But
it's kind of used like over here too, on Zor when you're coming from Stanton.
Oh yeah,
you hit to that
Pike
transition too.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. I guess it's just one of those things. I don't know.
I know we're not political or anything like that, but Justine said, "You know why that is?" And she said, "Why?" She goes, "Because their governor's a Democrat."
Oh,
I was like, "What? That makes no sense." Which, by the way, is Brashears? Is he the governor now?
Yes,
in Kentucky. His uncle.
Is that who that is?
Yeah,
I'll be damned.
His uncle lived right next door to the place we stayed this weekend.
Drove through his yard a couple times.
Yeah, He come up and talked to us about the limo. When we were,
Don't close the hood on that.
yeah, goddamn, let me look at that son of a bitch. I'm like, okay, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know what Rashir's background is, where he came from or what.
They said that this elderly couple, they used to snowbird, but they used to be in Texas.
Yeah.
And then they weathered a really bad hurricane this last whatever many years ago, and they were like, yeah, piss on that, we're done going down there. So they just stay up here full time now, I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, where you go out in Kentucky there, it gets cold.
Oh, yeah.
But,
hell yeah, it does.
you know, I don't know if they get
It's a nice, serene little point they're on, though. That'd be a nice place to spend your time.
Yeah.
I think I've got Janelle convinced that we'll go spend our summers in Michigan, do the bookends of the seasons here in Indiana, and then we'll have something down there in that swamp hole.
Awesome.
Now we don't have
we
don't have the finances for it, but
I hope you do.
It's
just
a great dream.
Good grief, will it into existence or whatever.
That's kind of what I was doing, because we were talking about it for some reason, and she was like, I always thought, because I told her, I was like, you know, I guess I could do Florida. Like I could, you know, you don't necessarily got to be on the beach, but if you could find a nice, because I know what it was. I was talking about like Florida retirement communities.
Oh,
not like bad, like old retirement.
Right.
Like you live on like 2 or 3 golf courses, and it has a clubhouse, and it has, you know, those kind of establishments that they have.
book clubs.
Fraternal Order of Eagles has a retirement community in Bradenton, Florida, or something like that.
Really?
Huh.
When
That's
I was a
interesting.
member up there in Brazil, that was my retirement dreams, to retire there at the Eagles.
Oh my God.
Well, they
That would be kind of neat though, as a retirement deal. You know, 3 or 4 different golf courses.
well, and that's what I
kinda
told
hop
her,
around.
because I think it was Corn Ferry Tour, who's coming to French Lick in October for the Corn Ferry Tour Championship, presented by United Leasing and Finance. They were at the Landing in Savannah, Georgia, and that is like a golf community kind of setup. But I was talking to somebody else, and they were like, yeah, you know, everybody's got golf carts. They go over and see their friends. They go do this. They go do that. And I told you, now, like, you could buy a place at that swamp, and it would be great, but you really wouldn't have that sense of community. It'd just be
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Now, you'd get to know some locals and other things like that.
Yeah.
But some of those areas are all touristy. Yeah,
some of those locals too. you
yeah,
know.
they are. But
Isn't that wild though, too, that some of the most beautiful places that you could ever go to, when you get 5 minutes away from that, is some of the biggest shitholes you've ever
well,
seen.
you know why that is, don't you?
Cost of living. Everything
Well, the
else.
cost of living's been the value of property has been driven up to a point where
Yeah.
the locals can't afford
You
it.
can't afford it. Exactly.
Well, that was when Janelle and I were on our honeymoon out in Yellowstone,
Oh man.
and the lady that was our waitress for breakfast, I was like, "Hey, are you a local?" She's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "What's it like living around?" Because it's a vast. I mean, if you ever been out west, like it's
huge.
It's not a Walmart 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
She's like, hell, I can remember as a kid, it would be an all-day venture to go to Walmart, and you took a trailer with you,
Yeah.
and you loaded that son of a bitch up, and you had 3 or 4 freezers. You had all that other stuff, you know, and I was like, so do you live? She's like, she was kind of embarrassed to say, she's like, I still live with my parents. I was like, oh, cool, me too, until like 6 weeks ago, you know, when Janelle and I's house got done. But she's like, I just can't afford to buy anything anywhere.
Oh, I
because
can imagine.
these big and we see it down there. These
Yeah.
big property companies come in and buy it up.
We've looked at getting those magazines, those realty magazines down there, and you're thinking, good God.
Well,
some of those little dumps are.
So then what happens is like down there, a hurricane will come through and it'll bulldoze 10 of these corporations' houses. And they'll turn around and say, we've got the money out of it. They'll just sell them to somebody else. We're not going to rebuild 10. You know, it's easier to just make the money for some other sap to come in and do it. That's why they tell you the best time to buy is after a hurricane rolls through.
Yeah.
Which is kind of tough.
Anyway, yeah, just thinking about it, traveling from state to state, looking at different things that different states do, like on the roadways, it's kind of interesting.
It is.
So,